Hello and welcome to another episode of Nerd BS. It is now Tuesday because we are changing the day we are currently recording. And we're on episode 205. It is the 21st of March. And I think we're like a month delayed, but we are back. We had a lot of real life stuff going on. But, anyways, if it's your
Mhm.
first time joining us, I'm Alan, and we have Tomas over here,
Hey, what's up?
and we have Kyle.
Hey guys, hi everyone. How you doing?
So that was wonderful. But we are doing a little video. We did that before, and I didn't get it out in time, so we're experimenting with some things. So we'll see if this one all comes up and works out perfectly. But for now, we move on. How are you guys doing? How has you guys been? Anything exciting happening in your lives besides my massive snowstorms that keep happening over and over again? Uh, what are you guys up to?
I mean, life's pretty much the same around here. It's been a lot of rain though. It's been a nice rainy winter. California needs it.
The
We all know
world
that.
keeps turning. That's what it just keeps on turning.
Like,
Yeah,
and
supposedly
through the
California is
hourglass.
working its way out of the drought, right? That's what I keep hearing. It's like we're getting close. I mean, we gotta wait till after summer to see how much of that sticks around, but supposedly it's a positive.
Yeah, it's a long winter. It's a lot of rain. It has
Mm,
been nice. It's not always
It's
fun
it's not winter
commuting
anymore, fellas. It
an hour and a
is
half to
spring.
work.
I don't know if you knew this, but it's spring
Technically, it is.
technically.
Yes, we're in the back half of March. You're right. Yeah.
It is.
I'm pretty sure something happened in my life. Nothing major, but I can't life of you tell you because little kids are just so tiring, so joyful, and so much innocence. But man, they just you run out of energy. We are going to Legoland in 2 weeks, so that's like
cool.
an upcoming thing. Oh yeah, Legoland is actually really cool for parents and little kids because it's not as crowded as Disneyland, not even close. So you get elbow room, you get breathing room. All the rides are made for little kids, so all can go on everything. And we're staying at the hotel there, and you got to walk past the bar to get to your hotel room. So it's like a win-win for everybody. So looking forward
Nice.
to that.
We took my son to Legoland too late, and he was a little big for most of the rides there. So, but I know
What's too
your little
late?
ones. I don't know. He
He
was.
was
I don't know how old he
9?
was, but I know he was like he was. I think he was only like maybe 10 to 12.
Oh yeah.
And even he was like
Anything?
he could barely fit on most of the rides.
Yeah. I think anything I think like 8 years old might be like the limit. It's not like you're still in the Legos probably for a while, but yeah, like the rides are so tiny there, and there's not a whole lot. There's just Lego stations, which for my kid is 3 years old. For a 3-year-old, it's just that is like probably heaven. It's like every other building you just have Lego pots of Legos, and you just go to town. They have a big globe, and where you could just stick Legos on and just add to it. So that's really cool. That kind of stuff. And we did Disneyland last summer, and it's fun. Like the rides are like 10 times better at Disneyland, especially the Star Wars rides. But man, you gotta wait,
Yeah, I was
and
gonna
there's
say,
so many people.
isn't there like
Yeah,
a new
for sure.
fast track?
You gotta pay for it now
Isn't
at
there like a
Disneyland.
new faster one though? Like is
Yeah, you can pay for it. There's a
yeah,
couple. You gotta get the app, and it just depends how much you
It's
want to
a
pay, how much you get a
whole
pony up.
thing. There's
It
a
really
great
is, and
documentary on
it's
YouTube you can
overwhelming.
look up that has like all that information, which
Yeah, so
explains the
we got
annoyance
lucky.
of it.
Yeah, we got lucky because my brother and his wife work there. Like, they're employees, so they just know like the ins and outs of the place. So they're like, "Look, we're just gonna buy the passes. You guys get in free." And
hmm
it was still like, even with that, we were still just overwhelmed. It was
hmm
just like, this is too much, right? Like we're on a schedule now. You can't just walk over to a ride. You have to, hey, we bought the lightning pass, so we got to go over. By the end of the day, we're like, we're just not going to go on that ride. It's like, thanks for reserving it. And they were really awesome with the kids and everything. But we're just going to pack it up before the sun goes down.
Yeah.
It's too much. That Star Wars ride though, the Resistance, whatever.
Yeah.
The Falcon's cool. You got to have good people that work together.
Know
But
what
the
they're
other
doing.
one, the Resistance one, man, that is a hoot. That's worth the wait.
I've seen some cool stuff about it. I'm excited for the Super Mario Land too, Super Mario World, Universal. I have some family planning on going there soon. I'm still on the fence because we usually go to horror nights every year, so I'm thinking that we might just do, because we did last year. We did like the 4-hour pass where you get to go to the park for like 4 hours, like the latter half of the day, and then just lead into. And so I'm thinking I'm just going to do that because I feel like we'll burn through Super Mario World pretty quick. I don't feel like there's a lot there, so I feel like we do that and then we lead into the horror nights. And hopefully, I'm hoping that, I don't know how they can, but every Mario game has like the horror, the boo levels or the haunted houses.
Yeah,
And
that's what I was wondering.
I hope they're going to do something. I feel like they won't because it's the first year, but
you never know.
Really hope. Yeah.
Nintendo does have like a good like quality assurance, so maybe they
hoping. Yeah.
They definitely like to gouge you for every penny, and we'll talk a little bit more about that later. But at least you're getting some quality stuff from them when you do give them all your life savings.
That is true. We'll definitely have to come back to that later for sure. But we'll do our social garbage right now. Our Twitter, or the podcast Twitter, is at nerd_BS. Our email is nerdbackstory@gmail.com. My personal Twitter is at ScadMatrix. And contact any of those, and you can join our Discord or any of these social nonsense. I'm sure somebody will get you in the Discord. If you want to look in the description, we have a Discord link in there too. If it doesn't work, you're probably in an older episode. So go to a new episode or contact us somewhere. Either way, why don't you go through your social junk there, Tomas? God, I'm being really mean to social stuff today. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, I know. I was like, wow, my social stuff is not junk. It's important. No, my stuff for Twitter and Instagram are both at TomasFDiaz86. I mainly post short stories and just musings. I also do some world building for my stories and D&D and stuff, and that can be found at my website, TomasFDiaz.com, which also has the stories. I mean, the website has it all. Just go to the website.
Go to the website. Yeah. See, don't go to the social garbage. Just go to the website. Go directly to the point. We don't have a website, though, so I guess we'll have to fix that. What's your social junk there, Kyle?
I think we're just reaching that age where it is social junk. I'm doing less and less of it. However, I am on Instagram under SkyBossin Video Games. And you could, hit me up there. I actually got a link to all the video games I got for sale right now. And by the way, I'm doing another little, I don't know what you call it, another little mini expo next month in April. So I'll be
nice
in person again. Yeah, looking forward to it.
Cool.
That's cool. I completely spaced there. Oh yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
When you're in the woods.
I've been on a TikTok a lot. That's where I do all my social stuff right now.
Before they ban it.
I know, that's what I was actually bringing up randomly. I was like, well, how do you guys feel about the banning of TikTok? I mean, I know you guys aren't in it, but that's basically where all the social interaction happens right now, and then it just kind of moves over to other platforms from there. Like
all stuff, yeah.
Yeah, that's where you get it at the source. After that, it's just, It's old news.
I mean,
Go ahead,
I don't
Tomas.
want to sound like a conspiracy theorist or anything like that, but I mean, when the news the stuff first reported and stuff, I don't know, I wasn't too inclined to believe. I was just like, it's just a social scare. But
Yeah,
I
it
mean,
is.
at the same time, like, I don't know. I mean, there's a million other platforms out there. If it is for real, why take the risk? Like, I don't know. I
Yeah.
just
There is
maybe
not a million other platforms out there, actually, and Meta is actually the one heading the lobbying to ban TikTok. So there's a reason behind them.
Who was?
Meta,
Who's?
Facebook.
Oh,
I'm just
Facebook.
saying.
because they're struggling.
I'm just saying
Yeah.
that, like, I'm just saying that if it is being used to spy on us and things like that, then there's. I mean, we do know that the company is based in China.
Yeah, but
that's not disputable, and also
But-
we know that China has done cyber stuff in the past.
you could say this exact same things you just said, but with America instead, and you'd be bang on.
But
So I'm just letting you know.
But I live in America. I don't live in China.
So if I'm getting screwed over, as long as it's the person in my next door neighbor, not at a person across the ocean.
As long as it's the place that I'm choosing to reside, yes. Like,
All
if
right.
I'm choosing to get screwed over, then I'm choosing to get screwed over. But if I'm not choosing to get screwed over, then I don't want to be screwed over. I guess is
Okay. Well,
the way
technically,
you
any social media you access, they have access to your data, and they're all selling it and using it, including Google, who has sold medical data in the past. So they're all bad.
I don't dispute that. I'm just saying that China is a known government that has used cyber attacks on us before. So if it is real, I'm not trying to say that it is, because I don't know enough about the facts to say if it is or isn't. But if it is real, then why give them the ammunition? We do have other social junk.
I got a lot of interference on your end there, Tomas. There's like something like banging or something.
Is it like hitting your beard or something?
Oh,
Mike?
maybe because I'm moving my hands around.
Oh, it's getting livid over there.
I know I talk animated, and so my hands move around when I talk. I'm sorry. I was told at an airport I'm very aggressive because of that. It's weird. I call it being animated.
Nice.
I guess
There's still
There's a
Still a lot
lot.
of-
Yeah, there's like a lot. Like you're. It feels like you're moving around your mic just like a cat, just bashing it back and forth while you're talking.
Yeah,
Really? Okay.
every time you speak.
Is it still doing it?
Right now, I don't hear anything
You-
yet.
Just when you speak.
Still doing it?
It's
Yeah,
while
it's
you
still
speak,
doing
yes.
it. Yep.
Jeez. Okay, hold on. I'm trying to figure out what's going on.
All right. While he's
Yeah.
doing that, we'll move off this because this wasn't part of our discussion, anyways.
Oh, fine.
Yeah.
What?
Oh, you got something to say, Kyle, about it? You want to? You want to?
I didn't get my 2 cents in
Go get your 2 cents then. Here, it's all yours. You get the podium.
there. I think they should ban them all. I think,
Burn them all to ground. I agree.
but at the same time, I hate more government control over that, and
Yep.
it's like a catch-22. Like it's almost necessary to have the government step in and start controlling all this stuff, all the media, because it's all mess. We've talked about Twitter before. I think it's just bad for the world to have. It's not
It
bad
is.
to have an opinion, but it's not everyone needs to have that kind of voice and platform.
I mean,
And
yeah. Facebook has literally started genocides. So in other countries.
yeah, so yeah, right, and and not so much intentionally, but just because of nature of humans, it's bad. So I think that it just should. It's not good, and we were joking about having the social media junk, but really, like, I go on Instagram and I end up watching like TikTok reels. They call them reels.
Yeah.
And a lot of them are TikToks, and I'll do that for longer than I should. But like, I got a message on Facebook, the other day. I'm like, dude, I haven't been on Facebook in whatever, who knows how long. But and I had to re-download the app and everything. And it's just nicer not having that
Yeah,
stuff. Other than
it,
communication, like
yeah,
talking
that's
to
the
people,
biggest
but not
issue.
having
Is
that.
like for me is like communication because that's where I would communicate with most family and you know older friends that I don't see very
Right,
often or contact. It's like
right.
a good way to communicate.
Is this? Sorry, keep going.
Uh,
Sounds better.
Sound much better. So it makes it difficult because I went to a wedding not too long ago, and like I was talking to people, and that was one of the things is like that came up is that I wasn't on social media, so I was like kind of in the dark on a lot of the events that were going on between people. And I was like, well, I'm not on Facebook. I mean, I'm on other social media. I'm just not on Facebook because Facebook is,
It's like,
I
so
mean,
fill me
why
in.
the worst?
My mom does it all the time. She's like, you hear this? I was like, no, just tell me. You're gonna tell me. Just go ahead, tell me what it is. And then we'll talk about it. That's fine. And it's always a surprise too, right? I have news sources I watch, but
Yeah,
I don't need to know everything all the time. I will admit
no,
this. I do on Twitter for the video game deals, and I'll
uh huh,
stumble over, I'll foolishly click the trending, whatever's trending tab, and I go, oh, I don't even have to enter the trend. Like, I don't have to click on the titles. I just like the titles alone. Like, I don't even want to know what's going on with some
yeah,
of these things. And
Well,
anyways,
I think that comes a bit with the fact that, like we talked about this before on the podcast, is being overwhelmed. Like
yeah,
it used to be that the news was kind of like the internet is great. There are great things about it. You know, knowledge at your fingertips. It's has wonderful advantages. But yeah, Kyle, like you were saying, like it can also create some terrible monsters. Like it's just
yeah,
there needs to be some. I think there needs to be more. I know, Kyle. Like you were saying, like you hate to give the government any more control, but over certain things. But I I think there needs to be a more current and a more up to date government that understands
mm,
how these things work.
mm.
Wait,
Like
you're
Welcome
saying that the
to
70 and 80-year-olds that are in politics don't know what technology does? Is that what you're getting at?
yeah,
I
that's
found
what
that
I'm leaning
yeah.
on.
that's some
That's like
harsh
the
words.
I honestly haven't thought about that because, like, I'm getting close to 40 and I'm falling behind on technology,
Yeah,
right? And so it's like, dude, the generations, they got wisdom there. There is wisdom from the
yeah,
older generation, but when it comes to technology, like, let's be honest, they're
yeah.
not helpful at all. Like,
They have no
so
idea.
yeah, that's a really good point. Now, welcome to the Nerd Political Cast. We're going to be having some
If I was
guests
more
from
knowledgeable, I would
the
love that
government.
to do that. But let's move
I,
on to
maybe.
another trendy topic. Or that sounds terrible for where I was going with this. Um, Lance Riddick passed away, which was
Yeah,
pretty
It's terrible.
sadly.
horrible news, especially for
Yeah,
me.
very
Especially
sad.
for me, it hit me the hardest compared to everybody else. No,
Did it?
I actually I just played Destiny Lightfall a lot because the new expansion had come out, and he plays one of the main characters in that game. So I had his voice talking to me for quite a
Oh,
while, and then I actually watched John Wick 1 in preparation for 4. I was going to watch the 3 again because I love those movies. Um, and so he's in that as well. And then all of a sudden I
right.
saw, oh, he passed away. 60 years old. And
Yeah.
supposedly natural causes. I don't know where. I'm more information may come out. Who knows about that? But
Mhm.
I
We
think
don't need to know anymore.
yeah, we don't really need to know. Um, but it was pretty interesting, especially with Destiny. There was a lot of um, gatherings of people around the character Zavala, who he voiced, basically
Mm.
doing little services
Memorial.
and things like that, memorials for him. It was actually pretty interesting seeing that stuff roll through the social media. I wasn't part of any of it, but or did I see it in the game? But I didn't see videos of it, which was interesting. It's always interesting to see a community pull together for the voice actors are a big deal, and this is where it kind of shows that a voice that powerful can really impact a lot of people, even though they're in a silly game, if you put it bluntly. So
Yeah.
it's pretty cool.
Yeah, he's actually voiced Hellboy in the new Hellboy game that we've talked about in
Oh yeah?
previous casts. Yeah,
Oh, I didn't
that's
know. I forgot about that. Yeah, shit.
I check up
And
on
didn't
the release date, like when that's going to come out, and that's the latest news.
See if
It's
it
like,
gets
oh, I didn't know
canceled.
he was part of that game.
and didn't
Yeah.
he do one of the dragons on Vox?
Yes, he did in Vox Machina. Not the
he's-
dragons. He was the king.
It was the
quite a
king.
few.
Okay.
Yeah, he was the king that got killed at the end of
Right.
season 1. Ooh, wow, that was. I mean, there's season 2 now. It's spoilers. Spoilers be damned.
Jeez.
I know I'm terrible. Sorry if you haven't watched
You're
it and for
usually
some
pretty
reason
good
you were
with
going
that.
to. Yeah, I am. I try to be careful, but it's a season old. If you're waiting this long, I'm sorry.
It's been out for a while.
Yeah. But anyways,
I have to put an edit in there or something. It's like a warrant, like an alarm in the middle of that.
Like
Alarm,
some
yeah.
strange, like some
Spice
strange woman's voice comes in. Spoiler. Then Alan's voice.
oh my goodness, I'm probably not going to do any of those because I'm a very lazy editor. So we'll move on for that. We'll see where I get.
Rest in peace, Lance.
Rest in peace, Lance. Another star has been taken from us. I heard that he actually played Destiny the day he died. Apparently, he was.
Really?
Somebody looked at his account. He was actually playing the game because apparently he enjoyed the community. So it's kind of cool.
Cool.
But I was also playing Destiny. I've been playing it a lot, Lightfall, and I've been enjoying it. But I've been surprised to see that the reviews are not positive for it. They're actually pretty mediocre. Metacritic's at 66%. IGN's at 6 out of 10. I don't know why it's getting such low reviews because I actually really enjoyed the story. I thought it was really good. So it's really bizarre that it feels that the reviewers didn't really like it.
I never played Destiny, but speaking on like a general consensus of where video games are, it might be what we mentioned this off before we started recording, just the burnout of the same stuff. And and so that's when like a game like Cuphead, for example, when that game came out, that was like huge, right? That was just so different visually and musically, just like so far different that it got so much attention. And but it finally released a physical copy, by the way, if you're looking to get that game physically. But yeah, I think it's just a guess. I could be way off of why, but for me and other people that I talk to through Discord, like for the Marvel movies example, just kind of they're not getting better.
Yeah,
and there's like a burnout, like those two things, right? Like there's nothing really new about them. Kind of seen this stories before, and I'm just tired of it. So
yeah, they're not doing anything new because you can't tell me that the first time, at least I can't say this. The first time I saw Iron Man, I cannot say like I was not absolutely floored by the way the suit looked and moved and seemed to just be. It seemed so practical, like it seemed so physical. It seemed so real, and like
the bar was low though. For that.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. Is that like you made something that was incredible, not just because of the suit, but the story was good. It wasn't. Maybe now I guess you'd call it cliche, but there were aspects of Iron Man that were a real struggle. The drinking, the Playboy, things like that, and like I feel like now Marvel has just gotten to the point that like, yeah, our name's on it, so you'll see it. So who the hell cares what we do? And they don't try to blow you away anymore. They don't try to I mean, I even got that feeling kind of towards Endgame. Endgame was
Mm.
great and all, but
I
it was
like the
kind of
other part
like,
better. Infinity War.
yeah,
I enjoyed that movie more than Endgame.
yeah. I don't know. And now with the copy paste of big battles at the end of every single Marvel movie, with like and the world is always at stake now in the Marvel movies, and yet they don't get the Avengers, which makes absolutely no sense. It's like, well, you guys have
That's
teamed up before.
that's kind of an issue in the comic books as well. I mean,
I know. I'm not saying that it isn't, but I'm
that's
saying at
just a
least in the
comic. That's a
comic
superhero
books,
issue in general.
and that's
No.
fair and stuff. But at least in the comics, I don't know. In the comics, to me, it was easier to separate them. Maybe because it's only what 20 pages, 18 pages long, so I'm
Yeah.
not having
I would
to
I would
slog
almost
through
argue
a
it's
3 hour
harder just in the
movie.
sense that you know that everything in Marvel is connected. You know that everything in DC is connected. Like having crossovers is just it's a Tuesday in those series. I mean, they're constantly crossing over. So I would just argue that it's less feasible in the comic books, but they're not getting more people to help on bigger events. But that's just me. But there's
Well,
also a lot more
but
smaller events in the comic books too. So I guess I can see where you're at in that sense. But they can do that because they're not like big budget films as well.
Well,
I do
yeah,
feel
but
like we're getting sidetracked, but yes.
when did big budget films have to be global ending events? Like you can have a big budget
When they
film.
want people to fill in the seats,
I don't know.
like that stuff works in a TV show, but I don't think it works in a movie because in a movie it's got to be big enough that people will go out. I mean, they're struggling getting people in the theaters as it is. I mean, like, why
but
would you?
I think that's what he's getting at. Like,
Yeah,
it
maybe
Yeah,
doesn't
that's
have to
why.
be that.
Because
That's
the movie's not good, that's why the people aren't coming, not because it's not
well,
big.
they're
It's
coming
because it's
enough
not
because they're
good.
making money. Uh, but uh, But yeah,
but
but
they're not.
I don't know
So
if you did a trailer and did Hulk versus Thanos, everybody would want to go see it. But if you're like Hulk has a Wednesday and his car breaks down, they would be like, "Well, I don't want to see that movie. That doesn't sound fun to me."
Well, no, but like, okay, if you said like Hulk versus Thanos, everyone go see it. Yes, I understand that. I won't deny that. I would go see that. Okay, but you can do Hulk versus Abomination inside just this area without having to make it like we got to bring in the army and somehow now Abomination has an army of cronies and now we're going to have a big army fight, and it's like, no, you're just showing your budget. That's all you're doing. You don't need a massive scale battle at the end of every single movie. It can just be these two dudes going at it, and that can be a good movie.
two dudes going at it. That's what Tomas
I mean,
wants.
that's what Tomas wants to see. I guess give the people what they want. I
So,
suppose.
here's an
So
excellent
kids these
example.
days aren't what they're not reading comic books like they used to, right?
No,
Like they're reading more manga, right? And anime is becoming more popular. Like I don't
for
see
sure.
the kids that I work with, middle school kids that I see every day, they watch the movies. They're not really, it's not a big thing anymore though. Like I started working for the schools 5 years ago. You know, every Marvel movie or whatever came out, we always talk about it. But now it's like nobody, the kids don't go see them. Some of them do. But it's and like anime is everywhere. Right? Anime is the big thing right now because the stories are good, right?
Yeah.
Even with all this gosh dang filler that Naruto
And the
has.
crazy stuff that happens in it that doesn't really make a lot of sense.
Right. The story they like it because the story's good. That connects with them.
Like, here's another example that I have. Alan, do you remember when we went and saw Ung Bak for the first time with Tony Jaa?
Yeah,
The martial arts movie?
yeah.
Okay. I felt like we both walked out of there being like, that was so good. That was excellent. That was so fun. Blah, blah, blah. That was literally one person fighting at most 15 dudes. Like, you don't need a massive scale war to make something incredible. That's just my point.
Yeah, I feel like I'm trying to look it up right now because I wanna verify uh
That
something.
movie's awesome.
I know. I agree.
He was like a Jackie Chan.
Tony Jaa.
No, Tony Jaa. Who would it? But he was like Jackie Chan combined with
Jet Li.
with like Jet Li, right? Like, so he
Yeah.
didn't have the goofiness that Jackie Chan does, but he had all this crazy stunts, right? And
Yeah.
their stunts were like over the
So-
top.
Crazy.
While Ong Bak was amazing, I will not deny that. It made about it made $20 million on a budget of 1 million, 1.1 million. So while that's pretty good, those aren't the numbers that like Disney is looking for. So I will bring that to the point there. But anyways,
I don't get what your point is.
my point is that that's a smaller budget film that while it did amazing, that's not what Disney's going for. They're spending a lot because they want to make a lot. They're trying to get a much bigger audience than that. They want hundreds of millions each movie.
Right.
So
and they're still doing that, but it's not as much as it was.
yeah.
I don't think they're.
Well, I think the movies are making about this, not the same. They're less, but they're not like drastically less. That's what most people are seeing as the superhero films at this moment.
I think I think you're right. Like, I think the numbers are showing that, but there's something's not connecting because like none of us are going to see these movies, right? So either
they're not. I don't think they're for us for any. I don't think they're for us for any.
Yeah, I think they're reaching a new audience now.
They must be reaching new audiences,
Probably
which is kind of a shame. It's like, all right, then
well,
it's time for us.
I mean,
to watch our old.
While they are probably doing a close to as well before, the whole theater industry is going down. So, like, we want to go see Scream 4 or 5, whatever the newest one is, and I think it's 6 actually. We went to go see Scream 6, and they literally have the actors at the beginning of the movie saying, "Thank you for going to see the movie in theaters," which kind of felt a little weird, but I'm just saying that I think there's a struggle right now, and I could see why, because I don't enjoy going to the movies anymore at all. Like, the one theater I enjoyed going to was Harkins, the newest one that was near us. And nowadays, it's like their seats aren't as comfortable. I really don't like being around a bunch of people, and there's always a bunch of people. The concession lines are super long, and halfway through the movie, I need to go to the bathroom because I'm older, and I can't pause the film. So I don't really care about going to the movie anymore.
So
we're just older.
So I don't have the restroom. I don't have the restroom problem. I do. I do have the crowded problem. I hate it when I sit down and someone sits next to me and I look at that armrest between us. Like, well, whose is it?
It's mine.
Like,
I'm bigger.
But
I just physically can't. I'm not going to sit here like this.
Like, yeah, but if I sit next to you, I'm whiter. So then I'd say it's mine.
Are you though?
I would say I am. I don't know.
That's when you do the standard practice of you fight in the middle of the theater. Like, you two go at it. Whoever wins gets the armrest. And hopefully nobody gets kicked out.
Most theaters have remodeled to get the armchair seats. Like, most have just completely remodeled, and if they haven't, they're like a budget theater. You're paying $4 for a movie.
So I do understand what you're saying, Alan, in some senses, but at the same time, I don't know. Imogen and I, we make a night of it. I mean, it is easier for us. I understand with Kyle, you've got 2 little ones running around, and Alan, you've got one very probably, hormone-induced teenager. So it's probably not easy. I don't know how raising.
I get what you're saying, but it sounds worse than what you're trying to get at. He's a teenager.
Does it sound worse?
He's just juiced on hormones.
He's just juiced up on these steroids.
It might be, but yeah, we don't need to go down that road.
No, but what I'm saying is, like, so for me and Imogen, like, we make it like a date night. You know what I mean? We go out, we have dinner. So I don't know. So in that case, I enjoy doing the movie night.
Isn't
So,
it easier
wait a minute,
just
though.
to grab like a pizza or something and go home and then watch whatever movie you want in the comfort of your own
I
home
mean,
and eat
I,
when you're in your home and just have the
I
luxury of
mean,
doing whatever you want?
yes, it is, but there is something to solitude that gets kind of addicting, and so it's just kind of nice every now and then to
Get
go
out.
out. Yeah.
Yeah, like so, Alan, you're right. It is easier, but when it's different when you're like getting out of the space that you're in every single day, where you are doing your taxes in, doing bath time in.
Yeah.
There's times, usually once a week, when you just need to get out of this space because it's not relaxing at that night. So
We see we have different personalities or something because honestly, when I go out, I'm like, I don't want. This is why I don't go out. That's basically what happens. I'm like, oh, okay, well, this is annoying. I don't want to deal with those people. Why are they so loud? Why is there a line here? Why can't I pause this movie to go to the bathroom?
I
It's
think the common
frustrating.
denominator there is you.
Oh yeah, it's
You
me. I'm sure it's me.
struggle with people.
I don't really like being around a lot of people anymore, and it's
I
frustrating because
also
it makes
get
theme parks daunting. I'm just like,
yeah.
oof.
Well, those are exhausting, but I also don't want to clean up. I'm eating at home. Like even if you just
Yeah.
get rabbit pizza, you're still doing the cleanup, right? Like
Yeah,
I
in
love
a
eating
way, but
out
yeah,
because
they take care of it.
well, you got two little
I mean,
ones.
I
You're
don't
still
mind.
doing
I actually
cleanup.
don't mind eating out. That's not a problem to me. I actually enjoy going to a restaurant most of the time. There's a couple occasions where it
So
becomes an issue, or when it's super packed. But like
yeah,
if it's a normal
I
day,
don't know.
and I don't mind it, like when it's not super packed, because
I
when we
think
usually go out to eat, it's usually we takes my son to school, and then we utilize that time while he's at school to go do something. So we're missing a lot of the crowds at that point,
Yeah,
which is
that's
nice.
nice.
Yeah.
mhm.
Yeah, and like we're all in different seasons, right? Like for us to go out, it's a big deal because we're getting a babysitter, making
Yeah.
sure
Yeah.
that the food's all taken care of before we leave, and and we're already exhausted before we leave, right? So it's not even like
Yeah.
we're just happy to be out, and then you feel out of touch. You're outside, we're getting to our 40s here. But let me ask you guys this, going back to something you guys said. Alan, you mentioned the theaters are struggling, but yet they're overcrowded when you guys go see movies. Like, how
I
does
mean,
that math add up?
overcrowded for me is much different than overcrowded for you, because technically there was only like 6 people in that theater. The theater
What,
wasn't the
dude?
issue. The theater wasn't the issue. Being in
You
the
just need
theater.
to get out more.
No.
What do you mean?
It was the lines because I was so confused because there was a line to the concession stand for like no reason. And it seemed like every person was taking forever to get all their stuff. And we only were like 3 or 4 back in line, but I still feel like I stood there for about 15, 20 minutes waiting to get some popcorn and a soda, and then to go back in the theater.
Oh.
So it was just like,
Yeah,
why am
I
I
got
waiting
you.
so long? Yeah.
We're in old man chat right now. I get it.
I am an old man, and I admit it.
No,
And
I don't blame you for
because
that one.
if I want to be outside, just not be in my house, I'll just walk around. But I have that luxury, so I could just kind of go out in the forest, and just not right now, but normally, and go on a hike or
Yeah, but
something.
then you have
Yeah.
the lions with the bears, and then you have the
Lions
lions
and the
with the
bears.
kids.
I haven't.
No, lions.
Oh, the lions
The cues, yeah.
for the forest.
I'm just joking around.
Oh, I was confused. I was like, what? Anyways, um, we went on a little tangent there, but that's okay. You had something. You want to talk about this game before we move on to? Because I don't really know anything
Yeah,
about
I'll just plug
Wolong.
it. I'll just plug it for like 2 seconds.
Oh, well, they'll be happy you did that.
Yeah. No, it's a fun game if you're into like Team Ninja games like Neo and stuff like that. It's very much like Neo. It was really fun.
Game is it?
Wolong.
Long. Is there
Go
subtitles on
long.
it?
Yeah,
That's all I heard.
there are. It's
'Cause I've
about
seen that around.
it's about Three Kingdoms. It's
All
Three Kingdoms,
in
China.
Destiny. I've seen it. I've seen like the game, like the case of it. When
Yeah,
I go to
it's
GameStop and
pretty
stuff.
fun. It's hard, but it is pretty fun.
It's difficult. Is
Oh
it?
yeah, it's hard.
Is the same guys that made Neo?
Yeah, but they went with a different kind of control system, and now there's a really kind of heavy a heavy consideration on parry. Although the parry window is much more forgiving than Sekiro or something, but everyone's comparing it to Team Ninja. It's Team Ninja's Sekiro, like so
This is
it's harder
very
than
much
Neo.
okay. Oh, harder. This is very much a Tomas game. Just looking at the images right now,
Yeah, it is really fun.
looks great.
I had a great time playing it, but it did just make me want to play Neo, and now I'm back on Neo. So, you know, I
Dude, I got that double pack for PS5
Oh yeah,
Neo, but I haven't opened it. But
it's a
looks
fun game, but you have to be interested in the game. Like it can be really challenging. It can be really hard. It can punish you, and so unless you're willing to sit there and learn the game, it can be difficult. But I enjoyed it. I was just gonna say I would recommend it if you guys get a chance, if you're into those kind of games like Neo and stuff like that.
I predict it's going to go on sale if it hasn't already, and I will.
Yeah, probably.
I'll
will.
pick it up.
I said I'll think about it.
I'll get it when it goes on sale.
Yeah, it is multiplayer,
Thank full
so
price.
it is
Oh,
multiplayer.
okay.
So if anyone wants to get it, I'll help them through it. I helped Barbara
We do.
through it. So
We need our shaman.
I'm glad you're enjoying it, but I don't have any. Doesn't sound like anything I'd be interested in. So, but yeah.
How come? If I may ask, Alan, before we move on.
Oh, because it sounds like a
what's
hard
the
game that I'm just like
difficulty?
not interested in.
I
Yeah.
Yeah.
Once you
Alan
said
doesn't like
challenge and everything else, I was like, nah, I'm good.
Yeah.
Alan
That's
doesn't
fair.
like to sweat when he plays his video games. I like
Not a
to sweat
fan.
Oh my
in
gosh.
video games.
I don't understand it.
Alan, I totally agree. I mean, I like it, but I get it, Alan. Like the
Yeah,
frustration.
I get it.
Like I take breaks in between those games.
No. See, I don't like to. If I'm getting mad at a game, why am I playing it? I can get mad in real life. I don't need to get mad trying to escape it. You know what I mean?
But the satisfaction when you finally
See,
get it
that
done.
I hear that all the time, but that's not satisfying to
it's
me.
like a drug.
It's more
It's like a
satisfying that it's
drug.
over, which I could have fixed that by just turning it off, which is where I usually go.
Alan, no, I get you, man. But I enjoy it.
I understand where you're coming from, but to me, it is almost like a drug. That sweet, like yes, it doesn't matter that you.
Drip.
Yeah, it doesn't matter that you've beat me 100.
Now put that
times.
same type of thing. Now put that same type of thing in like Final Fantasy 14, where I'm doing with 8 people and we're doing a raid together and learning the whole mechanics, and then enjoying the finish at the end of that fight. That's way more enjoyable to me doing it as a group.
Cool.
So
that's why video games are so great.
So it's hard to explain. It's a different experience, though.
Yeah, that's why I was just about to say it's why you said it's different people, because you put me in a situation like that and I would just get frustrated. Like I don't understand what I have to do and I don't want to do this.
Yeah,
I like
definitely the Maverick. You're gonna go on your own and you're gonna figure it out. Yeah.
I'm definitely more of that style player. So
I like to work as a team. But anyways, we have another big, massive issue. At the end of this month, I think you have until the end of this month. I hope I get this up before it's over. But the Wii U and the 3DS's eShops are finally closing down. We've talked about this on multiple episodes now, but it is finally happening. What I hear that Kyle has been preparing for this somehow. How have you been preparing for this, Kyle? This inevitability.
So
bunker full of Wii U and.
Well, there's an interesting video that just came out from the Completionist. His name's Gerard on YouTube, where he doesn't just finish games; he completes them. I really like his channel. But
It's a good channel.
100% every game. Yeah, it's cool. But he bought every single Wii U and 3DS game and DLC on
Wow.
shops like recently, and it cost like $22,000 or something. So like that's a really cool video. If you go just type in completionist Wii U, it'll pop up for sure because it's getting a lot of views. So if you want like a really in depth of kind of what that looks like, check that out. But from my experience, I was starting to collect eShop gift cards as they would go on sale, which because like Nintendo rarely puts their stuff on sale.
Yeah.
You could get Game Pass for dirt cheap if you just wait for a sale. You could get the whole year, and even with PlayStation, like racked up a few years of PlayStation Plus just waiting for sales. So, but Nintendo never does that. Their subscriptions never go on sale. But Costco, if you have a Costco membership, every once in a while you could buy a $50 gift card for $40.
Yeah.
So you buy 4 of those, you save what is that, $40?
Yeah.
But you're getting $200 in eShop. So I did that a few times. I think I put in, I got it up to $200 or $300, and I just did my research. There's a ton of videos of like, here's all the games you should buy, or games that are exclusively on the eShop.
Yeah.
Never got a physical release. There aren't on any consoles. For example, there's a Dr. Luigi game on the Wii U that was download only. It's like Dr. Mario, but it's Dr. Luigi. So I was like, okay, I'll grab that one. Easy. And then there's like even classic games that are on the 3DS, like Excitebike, but have like little tweaks to them, like make them better that aren't anywhere else. Yes, you could mod them, and you could potentially get all this stuff, but it's I don't know if all of it's out there. Maybe it is. I'm sure it is. I'm sure someone's cataloged every little thing with DLC. It's getting there's a lot out there nowadays. For me, as someone who's more of a collector, I want to have an unmodded console that has those exclusive games on it. So, if you think about the Flappy Birds of our generation, or if you guys remember PT, remember that demo came out for PS4? If you have that on your console, a link to your account, and you download it, that's $800 PS4 now that you have. Wow. So for me as a collector who likes getting valuable things and likes seeing things grow in value, appreciate in value, that's a big reason why I did this, right? Like I got a lot of digital stuff. I got a lot of virtual console stuff too. Like I racked up a bunch of N64 games, got some Wii titles just to have on there because I don't want to go buy the physical game. So who knows? Like I might just try the game. Who knows if it sucks? I want to try it, but I got a lot of that. Also, Capcom did a great sale. Their stuff is like 90% off.
Yeah.
So
I was even thinking about
all the titles. You might, but it is, you have to add funds through the Switch or online. Not a huge deal. You just can't do it directly if you end up doing it. And as of this recording, you got less than a week. So here's the other thing, really cool thing. 2 weeks ago, a brand new game for the 3DS was launched on the eShop, digital only. So like that game, that's going to be, unless they port it to Switch, which they might, who knows. Cool story. The guy that developed it wanted to asked Nintendo of America, like, can I release a game, within this year? And they're like, well, we're shutting it down. So if you get it in before that date, leave it open for you. So while a lot of companies were like delisting their games and shutting it down, getting ready to shut down, there's actually a developer who made a couple games over the past year and released it on the 3DS. So I haven't played them yet.
It's nuts.
It's interesting, right? Like one of them's almost like a Silent Hill type of game. And, and they're on sale too. A couple of those games are actually on sale. It's like, come on, Nintendo, put your games on sale. If Nintendo discounted their games, I'd buy all of them that I couldn't afford. I'd buy a lot more.
Well, because now it's like if you don't buy them, this is your last chance to purchase these games and actually have money go to the developer, or the publisher, really. But because
And they're
at this
indirect developers.
most of the games will be third party. Well, you'll be buying on eBay or a Macari or something like that. But or you'll be modding your 3DS and downloading them and putting them on for free. But again, no money's going towards any developers or publishers.
Right.
So this is really your last chance to do that on these two consoles, which I think it sucks, but it also I kind of puts it always, in my opinion, every time a console company does this, they essentially put those consoles into the free realm of now I feel like there should be no real repercussions at that point for modifying and you know putting games on the Switch that you can no longer get a hold of. So
Yeah, I would agree with that.
like at that point, it's fair game. That was what I was thinking. Fair game.
Yeah, I'm not against modding. I used to do it a lot, but I'm on the other side of it now. I personally just don't like it. I've had many experiences where my system was bricked. But a good example is the Vita. When I first got the PS Vita, their stupid memory cards are their memory cards only fit the Vita, so you can't go buy like some micro SD. It's just so dumb. They messed up big time. But in order to mod it and use a micro SD card, you have to put the chip into the game slot. Which is fine, right? You're modding it. Who gives a what?
Yeah.
But if you want to just play like you pick up a physical game, it doesn't work.
Oh shit! Yeah, that sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you can make it work, but there's steps you have to do to like essentially unmod it or make it think it's not modded, so it'll play that game again. And once that happened to me, I was like, I'm done with now I have to go back down to my computer.
Yeah.
I have to like reset something, or I have to download that game onto my micro SD, and it's like modding is fine. I'm not against it. If that's what you want to do, you want to save a couple bucks, you want to preserve the games, great. I'm just so tired of it. I just want to plug and play. I just want to pop the game in and then having it digitally, that's so much easier too. I don't have to mess around with the hardware. I don't have to follow some stupid YouTube tutorial to mod it, and hopefully I don't mess with my system. So that's just me. Everyone's like, it's easy, and it's like I don't.
It's easy till it isn't. Yeah, it's easy till it isn't, because I modded my Wii, and it still plays physical games and everything, but to play uploads or download, whatever you call them at this point, to boot the disc for the Wii, for some reason it's kind of finicky on doing it. I don't know if I have like a crappy external hard drive type thing, but it seems to struggle with actually finding the software, and it's a little frustrating. And maybe I can work with it some more to get it to do it right, but
there's the thing, right?
It's just frustrating. Yeah, it's always ended up working it. Yeah. Now the 3DS is great. I modded it. It's wonderful. I have no issues with it at all. Plays games perfectly. Yeah, it plays the digital games perfectly. The only thing I'm coming in an issue with is I wanted to put a bigger SD card into it, and so switching that over to another SD card has been frustrating. Couldn't figure that out yet.
The 3DS modded or not modded.
Dude, that's an issue in the nutshell. Yeah.
I had to do that because I was downloading all these games, right? And I look it up, and it's a pain. It was a pain in the butt. I thought I lost everything for a second there, and it was like modding it, but not. It was just switching out the micro SD card.
It's frustrating. So I don't know, because I've even tried to just copy and paste it over, and it didn't work. I think I have another way I'm going to try to do it. I just haven't done it yet. But still, I mean, to be honest, it's a 32 gigabyte that's in it, and it actually holds a lot of games as it is, so it's not like that big of a deal. At a certain point, it's like, why do I have this many games on it anyways when I'm not even playing any of them? So what is the point?
Yeah, exactly. You'll put stuff in that you're never going to play.
Exactly, just because you can. Now when I pick it up, all my stuff's on there. It's like, that's all I care about, but yet I can't figure out what to play at that point.
Then I go back and I'm just going to play Super Mario 64 on the DS or Chrono Trigger on my DS. Anyway, so I have been thinking about modding my Wii for actual preservation because we
Yeah.
talked about disc rot and
Mhm.
GameCube games, especially, which the prices for those are absolutely insane.
Yeah.
And they're locked. And like I have been thinking about modding a Wii. I just like that what you just described. I'm like, I even looked it up, and I'm like, everyone keeps saying this is easy, but I don't understand what's happening. Like these steps, I don't know what am I booting? Like, so it's not as easy as people make it out to be on Twitter. I
Yeah.
think a lot of people are very computer savvy, and they don't realize a lot of us aren't as savvy.
And also,
Yeah.
yeah, it's also, it seems easy, like I said, until you find a problem, and if you're not super
Mhm.
computer savvy and you just follow a guide, there may be something you kind of mess up on that was wrong, but you're not realizing it
Mhm.
because you were just following a guide. Since you don't know how it works, you're going to be struggling. So
Right.
that's just the way it is.
Yeah,
But before,
I'm not a big fan of the modding.
but before this
Personally,
digital
but
revolution that we're now dealing with modding and everything else, where did you buy your games? Like when you were a kid, like what was like your place you went to that you remember and you remember it fondly of a place that you went and purchased games or still do? Like if you still buy games, do you go somewhere specifically to buy games, or do you just go to the cheapest place in town? Like what do you guys think on this?
yeah, I mean, Walmart is currently is the cheapest place in town. I sold my Mario Odyssey game a while ago and kind of wanted it back.
I do this
And so
so
they
much,
had it on,
and I love it, hearing it every time. I sold this
what's
game,
that?
and now I want it back, so I have to go
Dude,
find it
it's
again to
the
buy
story
it.
of my life right now. But yeah, right. So I had to sell other games to buy that one back. So, but it was on sale for like $37. So
Hey, not
Walmart
bad.
is a good one. That's the cheapest place in town. I don't really like going there. Still
Nah.
like going to GameStop when they have their buy two get one frees
Hmm.
deals. That's always nice.
As
There
long as you
aren't
can,
quite as
yeah.
yeah, and I'll buy I'll just go in and buy a pre-owned game every once in a while.
Hmm.
GameStop. I like talking to the employees. They're cool. Um, this GameStop as an entity is weird, but there's a lot of mom and pop stores that are coming up. It's a good time for them right now. A lot of people are very nostalgic. And like I've mentioned, I do a lot of expos. There's a lot of vendors out there that do events, sell at booths, and people are buying. People like so I don't know if I mentioned this when I did my first booth. Someone literally came up to me and said, I'm literally buying my childhood back. So I'm buying this game from you. I'm like, well,
Yeah, I hear that a
I
lot.
understand, and I thank you for your purchase. So, like, I don't know if we're living in a bubble and it's gonna pop at some point, and we're all just gonna be like, "Yep, I got all the games I want from my childhood." But mom and pop stores right now are my favorite place to go, just to see what old stuff they have, see stuff I've never seen before.
I would love to see a mom and pop game store. I don't see any anymore. Like out here, maybe it's just
Uh,
where we are.
yeah, they're coming up more. There's a couple.
I've seen
There's one in the
them
mall.
like online
That's
and stuff. Like I see places that people
Mhm.
talk about, but like we had
yeah.
one place in a long time. It was actually quite a while ago, maybe 5, 10 years ago at this point. But there was a cool little mom and pop store that popped up in Yucaipa that I went to
Yeah.
one
Oh,
time,
really?
and I was really digging it. But I don't know if it had died through COVID. I also didn't go very often because that's usually what ends up happens. I think I go, this place is awesome, and then I never go except for the one time I went. So that's on me too. But yeah, but since then I
Gone
haven't
though.
seen any. Yeah, it's gone now, but I haven't seen
Mm.
anything like that since. So it was before COVID. So I mean, if it
Oh,
even made
sure.
it to COVID, it's very possible COVID killed it because they couldn't have been making a ton of money. Uh,
Yeah.
Some of them are. The places that run it, like a business, are doing really well. Um, and I've seen more pop up. And in fact, there's a guy, the city over from me in Paris, California, literally runs it out of his garage. And you go, his garage is open. Walk in, he's got shelves of games. He's got display case. It's just like a store, but it's his garage.
Mhm.
I've talked to him about it. Like I go there a lot, and I talked to him about like, have you ever thought about opening a store? He's like, probably not. I'm thinking about buying another house and doing this just because like I don't have all the overhead. I can use my house as a tax write-off because it's my business. There's just so many more benefits to it.
Also,
doing
you
it-
own land then.
Owning the property, right? And he's like, and I'm making money hand over fist doing this. Like, why? There's no need for me to buy a storefront. I'm like, fair enough. I mean, I keep coming back, and he's a really good personality too, and it just as well with the customers. So, like that's a mom and pop shop, right? Like that's literally out of the garage.
Yeah.
And and then there's another new one in that same city. There's another one that moved it to Lake Elsinore where I did my event. If you do it right, there's a lot of places that don't do it right, that overcharge stuff. I think are fronts for something else, but we can get into that on another episode.
I think a lot of it has to do with this day and age. It's like you can't just have a brick and mortar anymore. You got to have a strong online presence if you're going to do it.
Yeah.
There's actually is a guy.
Surprisingly, not for everyone.
What do you mean? Oh, really? Okay. Well, that's surprising.
So it is. You would think that, but there's a store guy that it streams. So okay, I take that back. He doesn't have a website, but he does stream his store on Twitch.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So the online
There's
presence
more
is
marketing.
there.
Yeah.
It's marketing. He actually said the online store hurts his store more. So what happens is he lists all his games online, right? Now the top hitters, more popular games, those sell immediately. The people that walk into the store see this like sports games and the rest of the stuff that nobody wants to buy. So he's like, online store was hurting our foot traffic. We actually make more money if we don't have an online store. And I think a lot of places, I think if you are doing that, it is, you're selling stuff on eBay maybe on the side.
Yeah, that's what
So
there
it's
was a guy.
surprisingly not. If you mean online presence as far as marketing, then yeah.
Yeah.
You need to
Well, there's a
develop
guy in Big
beforehand.
Bear that does eBay, but he also has a store. It's not a video game focused store, but it's like a more of a nerdish store. They have his like more like 3D like models and toys and also retro video games, and he's just all over the place with this store. But it has grown from what it used to be, and I've talked to him a couple times, and you could tell that the way he talks about it, he had an eBay store first, and then he's got the brick and mortar and just built it from there. And so that's how he survives, is he does both. So that's what I feel.
Yeah.
It's one example, but that's just what I was thinking of.
Yeah, and maybe I'm wrong in that, but from what I've seen, some guys have the website. Really, like the in store is a bigger is better for them. I think so.
Well, there's less
it probably
like
just depends on the
shipping and stuff like
location.
that, right? Yeah,
Yeah,
you can
gotta
sell
deal with
somebody right
shipping.
away. Yeah, there's a lot of other variables.
How about you, Tomas? Where you buy your games?
Yeah, where you buy your games, or where have
now-
you bought your games in the past?
I mean, now I buy them online.
Yeah.
Mainly.
You're digital. You're a
Yeah.
digital guy.
I used to swear I never would, and then
Really?
when I got sick, and then with COVID, it was kind of like, well,
I
wanna play
didn't know
this
that you
game.
were like against it at one point.
I always wanted to have physical copies. I always liked physical copies. I always wanted to have, I don't know. To me, it was always a texture thing. You know what I mean? It's like it's to have the product. But then at the same time, it became impractical and just much more easier just to get it, digitally.
It is easier.
But when I was a kid and teenager, I got most of my games at like Walmart or Circuit City. I think used to have games back in the day. Like, when my parents, when my parents would go to an electronics store or go to Walmart or something, that was pretty much my time when I was a kid. But back then, I just had like a Super and a Game Boy.
All you needed, man. What
Yeah,
else did you need?
and then when I was a teenager and stuff, yeah, I went to GameStop. Spent what used to wait there till was it midnight, right? Or
Midnight
was it?
releases, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So wait there till midnight to get your game, then run home and put it in. And yeah, that was another thing that got really frustrating though, is that stupid load thing. You run home and you put
Yeah.
it in, and it's like, oh, it's gonna take an hour before I can play.
It did kind of kill.
It's already
fucking
like 1 in the
midnight.
morning.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like I'm going to bed.
Yeah, that kind of killed the midnight release
Yeah.
stuff for everybody.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah, no, that's what I used to. I used to like those too because, I mean, when I was younger, now I probably would hate them. But like, yeah, when I was younger, it was kind of fun to hang out with your friends and chill, and
Get
you
all
get
hyped up for the
coffee.
game.
Yeah, you get coffee and Taco Bell or something. Just sit there and talk about it.
I think I showed up for a couple of those.
Yeah,
You guys, I remember Halo 2 was a big deal. We did that for
Arkham. I did it for Arkham.
We did for Arkham.
I did it for Arkham. I did it for Dragon Age.
Nice.
Halo.
I remember doing it for Skyrim. Yeah, I remember Skyrim.
Yeah, Skyrim.
Yeah. So it's like that PS3, Xbox 60
Yeah.
area. That was what, When I was a kid, we did there was Toys R Us. Always loved Toys R Us. I remember my dad would bring games home randomly.
I never got games at Toys R Us. I got toys at Toys R Us, like Power Rangers that you could like flip their heads around and stuff, and and Turtles, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, where you could like make them go back in their shells and come out of their shells and stuff. Yeah, but I don't know why I never remember getting games from Toys R Us like ever.
They had a weird system where it was like behind the counter. This is way back when it was behind the counter and there was like a picture of it and you had to just kind of ask for it. And back when the golden age of gaming and you could just do whatever they wanted and people still buying it now. You need to see the game sealed. That was the biggest one where I got my games as a kid.
I got 2 call outs. Kmart was a big one for us. Because it was the only thing that was near us.
Yeah, I do remember Kmart. Yeah,
Big K.
Yeah,
because we lived up in the mountains as well, and the only store we had that was like a big box store was Kmart. So
about that.
they were great when it was like the 64 era, and then at GameCube era, I didn't really go there very much at that point, but and they just started phasing out video games more and more and more. To the point where they barely even had electronics until they just died. At least up here.
Yeah.
Game Crazy was also a big one. Yeah, the one up here is gone.
Yeah.
It's been gone for a while.
Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember Game Crazy.
I do remember Game Crazy.
Game Crazy was good.
I remember it. It didn't have. There was something about it. It didn't last. Like they tried a whole bunch of gimmicks. I remember, like trading stuff in and all that kind of stuff. But it was GameStop that lived.
We're attached to Hollywood Video. That was
yes,
that's what it was. But Game Crazy had a better vibe. I don't know what. There's something about it because we didn't have GameStop for a while. We all had EB Games until it turned into GameStop.
Oh yeah,
down here. I didn't like it as much.
I didn't like it as much. Game
Crazy was better.
It had a better vibe. They had like kiosks in the center to play games. They had the people were more friendly. I don't know. Tournaments,
Dragon Ball tournaments, and they actually set it up like it was its own area apart from Hollywood Video.
Yeah,
you could attach to Hollywood Video, but it was like its own space, and it was like
I do remember that now.
And
it was like big enough, but like just small enough that like it was intimate, but you kind of still felt like you're on your own section of the space.
Something, sure, but the whole video DVD market went down. Rentals just were gone. Blockbuster tried it as well. They had Game Rush, but it was nowhere. It was just like an area. It was like a shelf. This is our gaming area. But yeah, they were onto something with Game Crazy, and it just sucks that they went down with the ship. But
Yeah.
but they
Just
also
were alive, like what, 10, 20 years later, they would have had this huge retro market flux where everybody's
oh,
hunting for
dude,
retro stuff.
yeah, because like my brother and I turned in all of our old stuff, our
Yeah.
Super, everything when GameCube came out, and
I always had
even as
gems, and they
kids,
weren't even that expensive. Like buy like older games there at the time
and
because it
even as
wasn't like
kids though, we knew we got ripped off.
Yeah.
When we traded, because we're like,
yeah, of
dude,
course.
this is like $1,000 worth of stuff, and we should at least get half for it. And they give us like $100, and we we looked at each other like, well, we're not already brought it.
Where
here,
else are we going to sell it?
Yeah.
So, but that was the first time when I remember thinking like, there's got to be a better way to get my money back from these games. Tomas, you're talking about physical games. Like that's a huge thing for me. Like, I want to get some money back. I don't need to make all my money back, but I want to get some of it back by buying physical. Digital, there's just, if they could develop a way you could sell a code to someone, that would be cool. But there's just
they've had systems. Steam tried to do something like that, but it didn't pan out. Yeah, it just wasn't worth it. I mean, it ended up being like,
think there is a way.
No, not really. There's no point. I mean, if it's digital, there's no limit on how many you can sell. So it's easier for them to just sell it cheaper when it's not as popular.
And, and then you give money to the publisher and developer by buying it. But
yeah, right away. That's physical waste too.
You can't borrow it either,
on the PlayStation you can borrow games. You can digital games. If you link it with somebody, you can do game share or whatever. There's ways to do it.
You can do game share.
Oh, so there's I didn't know about. I did hear about that on Xbox.
Steam, Steam actually has like a family plan system where you can add people onto your family plan, and they can have access to all your library. So that's another thing.
Okay, so there's
options out there. Yeah, there's something between sharing games that's happening. It's not, you can't sell games, but sharing games, it's a thing.
That's fine.
But well, yeah, well, physical is always something. There's nothing digital. So digital can do a lot, but they can never emulate that, having the physical thing in your hand. They can't emulate that.
The plug and play, man. It's just so nice.
But we'll have
like download for an hour, whatever that time is.
Yeah.
Before all that.
Yeah. Most games you can actually download like days or weeks in advance now. Just have it installed on your console.
They're figuring it out, but
yeah. Even then, like even my internet, it's like it doesn't take that long to download a game. So it's like
not now, but back then.
Yeah.
It took a while.
Then the updates, some of the updates are absurd.
Yeah.
It's where it gets crazy. If you try to download Fortnite right now with all the updates, you just go to bed. Look that
my internet. So I was doing something recently, and my internet started getting really throttled, and I was like, "What the frig is going on?" And it was driving me nuts. And then I went and was like looking around, and I was going to shut down so I said, "Screw it, I'm just going to shut down the internet and reset it." So I did. And then my son comes out of his room and he's like, "Hey, what's going on with the internet?" And I was like, "Well, I just shut it down." I was like, "Oh, well, I was downloading Fortnite." It's like, "Oh, so that's what was going on." Yeah.
Didn't have it already? What?
He deleted it and then just tried to download it. And then like a week later, the same thing happened. And I was like, "What is going on?" And so I immediately went to him. And so he's downloading it again, but on a Switch. So I was like, "Oh my goodness."
One brother, man. And stick with it. Stop. Get a bigger memory card. Whatever you need to do. Stop deleting Fortnite. It's not worth it.
Oh man. Anyways,
so I don't even play it, but I don't delete it. I think I have it on Xbox, and it's like
I've deleted
it. Stay.
It's a fun game. I mean, when you have people to play with.
If I ever want to play it, I don't want to sit there for 8 hours while it downloads.
But we'll move on to our soapboxes here. We'll kind of run a little long, so we'll start with we'll go with Kyle because it's kind of synced up to the same thing we were just talking about, and then we'll do Tomas, and I can. No, I'll go second. Tomas will wrap it up. I'll give him the lead in
Tomas
his
will
Okay.
butt here.
Yeah.
Go
So,
ahead, Kyle.
speaking of physical games and downloading games, I don't know, I forget what sparked this, but about during the PS3 era, about 13 years ago, around 2010, Sony dove into 3D video games. Remember when 3D movies came out? Like that was like
Yeah.
a thing for a year or two. Well, there's like 20 or 30 games on PS3 that are 3D capable. So if you have a 3D TV, the glasses, and the game, and a PS3, you can play these games in 3D. So I forget. I saw something. I'm probably watching some YouTube video about it, and I was like, you know what? Know what? The mom and pop store I go to, Retro Gorilla, he had one. He ended up getting one, and what it was is Sony made a 24-inch PlayStation 3D TV, right? So it looks like a big Vita or PSP. The TV, it's like a flat screen, has their logo on it, has the PlayStation logo on it. It just looks really clean, really cool. The picture quality is amazing. It can do 3D as well. So I remember seeing that and I was thinking like, man, what do those things cost? I go on eBay and they're like $200 with shipping. I don't know if you guys have ever shipped a TV, even a flat screen. It's like minimum $70. So I'm looking at like $300 shipped. I'm like, all right, maybe if I really wanted this. So, but then I go, wait a minute, what about OfferUp? I don't know if you guys have done OfferUp. I've done it several times, buying and selling.
No, I
No real problems. I've never had a problem with it. People like to stop messaging you, but you go to a safe place, tell people where you're going, vice versa.
Yeah.
I've had no problems. Anyways, I go on there. There's one for sale for $200. And I'm like, cool. You know what? I'm just gonna do it. I message this guy. I'll pick it up tomorrow. I go, wait a minute. Let me look around a little bit. There's one for $120, but it's a little bit further away. And I was like, I'll make the 30-minute drive if I save $80. I go and get it. This one comes with the glasses. I'm super stoked. So I actually have a few of the games. Arkham City is one of the games in 3D.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I had no idea. So I have that one. Dynasty Warriors is one of them. There's a Sonic game. Captain America is one of them. Which is actually like a hidden gem, so to speak, on the PS3. The Captain America game.
Yeah, I didn't even know there was a Captain America game.
Yeah, it's him fighting the war.
Yeah.
It's Captain America actually based on the movie, him in the war. So, anyways, I go buy a couple other games from another shop in San Bernardino. At the Swap Meet, indoor Swap Meet, by the way. That's the store. I don't know if you guys want to go there. It's a little. I wouldn't take my kids there. So, anyways, I get all these games. I'm super excited. I get it home and start plugging it in. There's no manual. I had to just look it up. I come to find out the 3D glasses, because they're 13 years old, the batteries are dead. They won't even hold a charge at all. Can't even plug them in.
Oh wow.
No, and the guy told me, he's like, one of them holds a charge, the other one doesn't. And it's like, who knows? The TV works though, thank God. Which is, if you're doing OfferUp, make sure you ask him to test it. And I did, and it works. But the glasses, which was like a bonus anyways, don't. And Sony, in their infinite glory of hardware wisdom, Sony does a lot of things right. Right? Like, I think their PlayStation Plus collection is getting better, and that whole digital library, they're doing some good things. However, when it comes to hardware, you have to be an engineer to figure this stuff out. So their 3D glasses, it's not just like a watch battery you replace it with. It is you have to solder the battery out and solder a new battery in. It's a whole thing. And the YouTube video of some random guy that made it 8 years ago was like, yeah, I broke a couple doing this. And I'm like, are you effing kidding me? So I bought the batteries anyways. They came in today. I have them here. Look at these things. I'm going to try to do it. But the good thing is you could use other 3D glasses, like third-party ones. And I've tested it, and it does work. Like, I'm super excited. It took like 4 or 5 days in a row of just figuring it out and finding the manual online. Thing, stupid TV didn't even come with a remote. Like, again, Sony and their infinite wisdom of hardware did not include a remote with their TV. So I had to go buy one on eBay. And then I was talking to my wife. I'm like, how come they didn't further 3D? Like, how come it never took off? It seemed like a cool thing. And I was like, oh, wait, they have VR. Like, they went right past 3D. Yeah. So I was like, never mind. They did go further with it. But it's just a niche little cool thing. I'm pretty sure these TVs are going to be rare because I rarely see them.
Yeah.
But it's a nice little screen. It's basically a monitor, 24-inch monitor that I can play 3D thing. And the cool thing is, guys, I learned I can play max 15 minutes of a 3D game with those glasses on. Because I borrowed some from my wife's dad. He has a 3D TV. He let me borrow a pair, and after like 2 nights of figuring it out, I got it to work. And like I played Sonic, which maybe that was a problem. You know, you got to go fast.
Yeah.
And so like my head started feeling it after about 15 minutes. I was like, all right, well, that's just all the 3D I could handle for the day. And so I just, it's really exciting for me to find something like that. Sucks that it hurts my head to play it though.
Yeah, like
Maybe
sounds fun, but I mean, you don't have a lot of time to play anyways, right? So
yeah, that's basically it. Yeah. We'll do 15 minutes at a time. Here's the thing. I did Sonic and I played Ratchet and Clank. I didn't test all of them because it's 3D, it forces you to download the game onto the console, which, you know, it's like 10, 15 minutes max to do that. I don't have all night to sit there and put a disc in, download it to the console, and then try another game. So maybe I'll do one a night, and I'll tell you guys if there's any that are worth. I'm excited for Arkham City.
Yeah,
see what that's like in 3D.
That sounds cool.
So that's what I did over the past couple weeks. I have a PlayStation 3D TV. We'll post some pictures in Discord of it.
Nice,
just
nice.
3D, I guess. Yeah, that's mine. That's my soapbox.
All right. I don't know where I'm going with this soapbox, but I'm playing Final Fantasy again. I mean, I already talked about in this cast a couple times that I go back and forth between it. I leave when I'm get burned out, and then I go back. Yeah, 14, Final Fantasy 14, the MMO. Well, what kind of happened was essentially I have a group of people. We've been playing together for a long time. We actually all met in Final Fantasy 14, and I looked it up, and the game came out in 2013. Was relaunched in 2013, which is when we all started playing it. And not too long after it came out, I met some of them, and then sprinkled, I've met other people. So we have this group of people. And randomly, somebody got everybody together again because it's been a little while since it's been like a year or so since we had been talking. And so they'd been like trying to push everybody, like, hey, we should try to find something to play again. Because it's been a while and I haven't talked to you guys all for a while. So we started talking and trying to figure it out and moving from game to game, trying to figure out what to play. We tried Warframe, we tried ESO, and now we're finally back to Final Fantasy. And of course, it's bringing a lot of nostalgia back as we're now in the early processes of possibly raiding. We're like working out the semantics. We're all older now. We all have semi-demanding lives, and it's like trying to find that special balance of how much time you can put into the game at a specific time where everybody can do it together. So we're still trying to figure that out. But it's actually been wonderful because we've actually, been able to play again together for long periods of time, and I'm catching up. And my wife also plays, so it's actually cool that she gets involved in that too. So we're all playing Final Fantasy again. So I've been going through and reliving the nostalgia of doing the story and everything else, catching up essentially. And I've been really enjoying it. It's been really fun. So I don't know where I'm going with it, but that was just leaving that. That's all I got, I think. we're having a great time. I'm
Yeah.
hanging out with a lot of friends I haven't hung out with in a long time, so it's been
Yeah, that's
enjoyable.
good.
Having a great time. So
10 years for MMO. That's
Yeah,
impressive.
that's good.
yeah, we started like right when it came out, and we've all kind of came back and forth to it. But yeah, I've been to
Yeah, it came out
multiple
on
fan
PS3
fests. Yeah, it came
well,
out on
right? Yeah.
PS3, on PC. I remember because I played on PC originally, and then my PC was kind of falling apart right around when the PS4 launched, and so I said I could either spend like almost $1,000 to upgrade my PC, or I could just buy a PS4 and just switch all
Yeah.
my stuff over to it, which I did.
You
That's
can do
ended up what
that.
I'm doing.
You can
Yep,
just
and you can do
switch the
that.
accounts
Yeah,
over. Yeah.
yeah, and that
That's
was
good.
back in like 2015, maybe. Back when you could do that, like that was
See,
good for that time. Like nowadays, it's more common,
oh
but
yeah,
back then, it's like that was rare to be able to do
yeah,
that.
it definitely. That's what I'm saying.
So it's
Sony
pretty cool.
does a lot of
What's
things right.
Square Enix? But yeah, that's more Square Enix's game.
It wasn't on any other console.
No,
It was
you're
on
right.
Xbox,
They
is
did
it?
have some
Not on
sort of
Nintendo.
deal with Sony to try to help them do
That's what I'm
that.
saying.
But
Square's good too, but it's yeah, that's what I'm getting at. Like Sony, the digital stuff, they seem to get
Yeah.
that right.
Sony
Mm.
has problems because you just said that, and I don't know if I've said this in the cast yet. I have a DualSense controller that has drift.
Hardware, dude. Hardware.
What?
Good luck working on that.
Yeah.
Whew, I don't even want to touch this.
I got it when I got my console, so I called Sony just to, there's a shot in the dark. I was just like, well, let's see what they would do. Because Nintendo, if you call them about a drift on your Joy-Con, they'll take it, fix it, and send it back. Sony, I read him the serial number, and he was like, let me step away from it and see what we can do. Put me on hold. Came back and said, can't do anything about it. Too old. We don't take anything that's not in warranty. And I was like, alrighty then. Okay, well, I guess.
Gosh, it's been out that long.
Yeah,
Already?
I think the controller is 2 years old. But it's just really bizarre because I take care of my controllers, so it's just really sucks that it has drift. Yeah,
No,
it's
yeah,
an issue.
Xbox. It's
my
all of them.
my first PS5 controller, I had to buy a new one. Actually, I have two new ones. I got a second new one this year because my white one went out, and then I got another white one, and then that white one started to drift, and now I have these two, and now my red one, as of like December, started to drift.
Oh,
So I'm
really?
kinda like, yeah.
Well, if it's within a year, call Sony. They'll replace it,
No,
or they'll fix
the
it.
red one I got to replace the second white, which
Okay.
I think.
Well, number
I think
two,
the first white one was my fault because
It's-
I
it-
dropped it.
this shouldn't matter. It was probably already happening. Always buy the warranties for controllers nowadays. I do not hesitate anymore because I got 2 years, and it's happened multiple times where I can take it back. And also, I don't know. It's probably not legal.
I just
But
heard
if you
it's
buy the same,
bane.
if you buy the same color of a controller, they're not going to check. So you could just, if any of them go out, you could just take it back. But
I just heard it was the
Don't they
bane
know
of
the serial number?
joysticks. Like,
they do, but the clerks aren't going to check. So they're just going to look in the box, see a controller, or look at it, and just check
at
it in.
GameStop.
Well, don't do it at the
Scan 'em.
GameStop. But I did get the warranty.
Scan 'em,
Well,
right?
I got a black controller now to replace it as a gift for my wedding anniversary. So, I have that now, so to replace it. But she got me the warranty too because of that. Because it just happens so often. Towards the end of my PS4,
Too often.
I had 2 controllers that got drift within a year, and that was at the point.
That's what I'm saying.
And that was at the point with
The hardware,
where
man.
Sony wasn't doing anything with PS4 stuff, so they didn't care about PS4 anymore.
Yeah.
So both those,
I've
and
gotten
well,
drift
one of
on
them's the Kingdom
PS4.
Hearts controller, where I'm like, I'm not sending it in because it specifically says if you send this controller in, if you send any controller in, we cannot guarantee you will get the same controller back. So I was like, well, I'm not sending a Kingdom Hearts controller in.
Now, I think we talked about that. Like,
Yeah,
said I would be willing
you would
to
try to
work
fix
on
it.
it.
Yes, I know, and I need to get with you on that. But I just haven't done yet because I had a gold one that I
Not
bought on
just
Black Friday. It was within a year, like not even half a year before that thing gained drift, and then the other one
yeah,
was not. It was even quicker than that. It was like right after I beat Kingdom Hearts
yeah,
3, which is when I got the console. And I was like, "Are you freaking
yeah,
kidding me?" And those consoles are really rare too. So it was like, I'm not gonna
yeah.
be able to replace this. So
I don't
I would,
expect them
ugh,
to last forever, but it can't be 2 years
can't be 2 years.
for
That's
the
insane.
price.
And now they're charging
Especially when
$70 for a controller. It's like, come
especially when
on,
Super Nintendo controllers still work, no problem.
yeah.
They don't got joysticks. I'll give you that, but I mean, 64 controllers still work. Just replace
GameCube
the joystick
controllers
on it
usually
'cause
work.
GameCube controllers work good.
Yeah,
PS2 is kind of iffy.
yeah. It's
Yeah,
just it's rough. It's silly, and I do appreciate Nintendo swap. They will fix controllers if they're older than two. Like
yeah,
if there's any drift in it at all, they'll do it. That's because
yeah.
there's a
They kind
major
of.
known problem with them. They got
Well, it sounds like
rag.
Sony is going through that too, and
They should be. Yeah,
Nintendo did the Xbox move when the Red Ring of Death started, and where Xbox bit the bullet and said, "We'll replace any of them. We'll fix any of no matter how old, because it's either that or they just lose every customer." So it sounded like
yeah.
Nintendo did that, and it's sounding like PlayStation needs to do something
They do something
close to
because it's
that too.
ridiculous. Like I'm thinking about taking apart that one controller because I do have that extra controller now that does have drift, and it's sporadic too, which is the worst kind of drift in my opinion. Because at least with drift that's happening all the time, it's like you know what's going on. But
Yeah, you
sporadic
could
that just
anticipate it.
happens when it feels like it, it's just like, oh my god, I can't play games, and I don't know what temperament you're going to be into this session. So,
Right? Oh, that sucks. Good
but
luck, and let me know if you want me to work on that.
yeah, I'll
Or
get the
one.
Kingdom Hearts one. I'm definitely gonna get that one fixed because I want that thing. Because I have the console still. My wife still uses it because it's a pro. It's the only pro I got,
Mm.
and it's a great It looks beautiful. I love that Kingdom Hearts console.
Yeah,
They did a
it
great
is.
job on that
It's a
one.
good one.
But anyways, why don't we'll wrap it up with Tomas. We're already going kind of late. But Tomas,
Yeah.
what do you got today?
Well, my thing isn't too great. It's just a recommendation to
Don't sell
watch.
yourself short. I'm sure it's wonderful.
It's just a recommendation to watch. I've seen there is only 2 seasons, which is one of the things that's kind of refreshing about it. It's called Carnival Row. It's based off of a movie script that I don't believe it was ever produced, but it may have been produced. But it's based off of a movie script that that Amazon transformed into a TV show, and it's high fantasy but set in like during the Great Revolution, during the Industrial Revolution times. So like there's guns and like old style guns and steam powered boats and airships and things like that. It was fun. And I would suggest it to anyone who wants to watch a good fantasy show that, I mean, like I just said, it's just fun. It's fun to watch. It's interesting. You get invested in the characters. Uh, there's not a lot of big names in it. Orlando Bloom pays a part, and some other people who are maybe kind of well known, but I don't know a lot of actors or actresses. But anyways, my thing is just I recommend it. It was just fun to have a breath of fresh air that wasn't Marvel, that wasn't Mando, that wasn't, it was nice. That wasn't Lord of the Rings, even though it was
That's what
fantasy. So
yeah. That's why I really love The Last of Us because it really felt refreshing to be
yeah,
away from that stuff.
I have not been in a zombie mood, and
Well,
I don't know
just so you
why.
know, there's not that many.
No,
Yeah,
it really
it's
isn't.
not.
It's more about
It's
like a
not like I'm.
post-apocalyptic survival.
It's
Yeah.
not like I'm scared of zombies or anything. It's just like I don't
That
know
setting.
why. Yeah, that setting to me has gotten. I don't want to say boring because I'm sure if some movie came out that was like, post-apocalyptic. I mean, Last of Us looks good, so I wouldn't say boring.
I wasn't even like saying, "Oh, you should
but-
watch it." No, I was just saying
No,
that it
no,
was
I know.
refreshing because, like, we were talking about Mandalorian, and I haven't had the desire to go watch Mandalorian because I can't think of a reason why to go
Yeah.
back. Like, I feel like that story is kind of done. Like, we lost Grogu, then now we're gaining him back. It's like, okay, what's next then? Like, where are we
that
going
was
from
kinda-
Not
here?
much. I'm telling
Yeah.
you, from what I've seen, not much is
That's-
Exactly. So at least with Last of Us, you're at a fresh start. You're like new characters,
Yeah.
new story. There's something else going on. So that's kind
Yeah.
of why
But-
I enjoyed a
That's right,
fresh new
which is-
story. Yeah.
But I'll say this, like, and that's one of the reasons I like Carnival Row is like it gets to the second season, it's told its story, and at least from reading on Amazon and everything, it is done. Like they're not being like, and we're gonna
Good,
come out
yeah.
with the next one.
We need
Like,
more of those.
yeah,
Amen.
And that's
Eh,
I enjoy it.
I like when shows.
It
Like
depends.
I think like 4 or 5 seasons, if it's really good, is
it depends.
That's
Good.
If you
Yeah, you're
have
right.
a
You're not
full-
wrong because there's like Battlestar Galactica, for instance, which is like I think
Yeah.
4 or 5 seasons, which is an amazing show, start to
Yeah.
finish. And they just know how to keep, but they have a lot of characters. That's the problem with Mandalorian is
Yeah.
like, it's like you're really following Mandalorian, a couple side characters here and there. But it's not like you're following a crew like the Star Trek and stuff like that always work really well because you're dealing with a whole bunch of people. So you can kind of focus on different
Well-
characters at different times to make it more interesting,
Well,
in
also-
my opinion, with
well,
more
also-
stories.
Well, also those style of stories are designed to. I wouldn't say that they're designed never to end, but they're designed so that you can easily just play off them and play off them and play off them. But what I hate is like when a story starts and it goes, here's what we're gonna focus on at the start of the story, and it's like, okay, good. So, like, say it's someone who's a criminal or something, and so we're trying to figure out who the criminal is, like in a thriller or something like that, you know. And
that? What are you saying?
well, what I'm saying is like, so you have an objective, right? You have an
Mhm.
you're telling a story, you have an objective. You get to the end of that story, the objective is met, and then it's like, oh, that was a good story. And then someone goes, and now that person wasn't really dead. And it's like, well,
Oh, I don't like that.
and that
twist.
whole
Oh,
2
yeah.
hours was pointless. Like,
No,
but that's what I mean. It gets to feeling like that with some of these season things. It's like you get to season 5 and it's just like, you guys have done this. You guys have done this.
Well, like,
done it.
that's my
over
issue
and
with Cobra
over.
Kai is that's that's how I felt with Cobra Kai. I haven't been able to finish the current season, but it's
I
like
love that show.
it's,
Yeah.
But
but every season just kind of feels the same. It's like they struggle, but
Mhm.
they make some stupid decisions, and then they solve it at the end. And the next season, it's like
Yeah.
they take 5 steps back to do the same thing again.
See,
Uh,
I agree
it's-
with you, Alan.
it's good.
That got frustrated to me with Cobra Kai because I got frustrated in the second season with that because he just
it's there's so many characters in it now, and it's so convoluted that like Ani's not even a main character when he technically was the main character in the first season. And
yeah.
yeah,
and I don't know. There's something about that show though. Maybe it's just that
it's still fun to watch, and so I
it's-
do want to go back and finish it. But yeah,
I think it's fun. It's
Oh,
clean.
yeah.
You know, there's no foul language, and
Mhm.
but you know, like I don't have to put earmuffs on if the kids are around. Like that kind of thing with that show. It's just
yeah, for
silly.
sure.
Yeah.
But yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Well,
And you finished The Last of Us, right, Alan?
yeah. Oh
Finished
yeah.
watching it? Yeah.
Wonderful.
Let me just say, 7 out of 10 for me.
7?
Doesn't-
I will
it
say I
doesn't-
was more hyped at the beginning. I would probably go higher, about an 8. I wouldn't go
it's
straight up to
good.
10 out of 10. There were a couple episodes that I wasn't as engaged in, but there were a lot of the majority of the show though was amazing. That's hence the 8.
It was-
And I'm excited for
It's good.
more. Yeah.
The only thing is like and this is my expectation, and I had an expectation. You definitely don't feel the same way as when you play the game at the end of that show.
Mm.
It feels like it
Like-
ends too. It feels like it just ends like weirdly. Like did you
And
get
the game
that?
does
Like
too.
okay.
Game kind of does too. But with the game, there's so much more build up that when that decision at the end happens, you're like, what just happened? Like what is going on, right? And it does end a little weirdly and abruptly, but you're also like that game made me think about life and about choices. And show kind of does, but it's just like there's like you said, there's some episodes where you're like it's kind of slow, and then that last episode is just like here we go, and it's like, oh, that like the chemistry wasn't built enough for me
Yeah.
between the two, and the impact of the decision he made just wasn't as big as when you play the game and you're controlling him, and you're like, part of you is like, I don't want to do this, but I do want to do this, when you're actually in control. So that's why I got a 7. It's still a good show, like you said. It was fun to see that, but not nearly as impactful as the game.
Yeah, for sure. But so Carnival Row, I guess, is check it out. Tomas gives it.
Yeah.
Well, what would you rate it, Tomas? We just rated Last of Us. What would you rate Carnival Row for the peoples?
There are some parts that can. So I would say 8 out of 10, mainly because it's refreshing to have something new. So I'd say 8 out of 10.
Okay. All right. 8 out of 10. Carnival Row. Tomas recommends 1 thumb and 4 out of 5 thumbs.
We have a different rating system every time.
16 raspberries. We're
out of 1,000.
I'm spacing out right here.
We're wrapping up here. Thanks for joining us. Sorry it's a long episode. We'll see how this comes out. I hope this editing. Yeah, that's true. I hope you enjoy it. I'm just more. We'll see how it works. I hope it works all well, and I'm just backpedaling myself. So we'll see you later. Peace.
Good night.
Bye.